Good afternoon, students. So, after finishing TCA cycle regulation and significance, now let us focus on to the next metabolic pathway, that is called as pentose phosphate pathway, or even it is also called as hexose monophosphate pathway, and even it is also called as phosphogluconate pathway. Because this pathway is why it is called as phosphogluconate. The intermediate which is formed in this pathway will be phosphogluconate, and as well as the exoses are going to be formed in this pathway, like fructose 6 phosphate, as well as uh, and other exoses like ribose 5 phosphate, sorry, pentoses like ribose 5 phosphate, and other xylulose 5 phosphate are all going to be formed. So these are going to be pentoses. So that's why it is also called as pentose phosphate pathway and hexose monophosphate pathway, and it is also called as phosphogluconate because which is known as an phosphogluconate, which is formed from 6 phosphogluconolactone in this reaction in this metabolic pathway. And this is an alternative pathway to glycolysis, where you can make out here the particular molecule, that is glucose 6 phosphate, it is going to be shunted through this pathway. So that's why it is also known as shunt pathway. So this shunt SMP shunt is very clear that it is way more anabolic in nature, where the synthesis of a new molecules are going to happen in this pathway. So you can see here in this particular pathway, it is mainly concerned with the biosynthesis of NADPH molecule, which are acting as a cofactors or the reducing equivalents, and as well as pentose phosphates. So the main significance of this pathway is mainly concerned with the biosynthesis of NADPH and pentose phosphates. About 10% of the glucose which are going to enter into this pathway per day, as you all know. So the liver and as well as RBC metabolize about 30% of the glucose through this pathway. So you can make out in this pathway about 30% of the glucose are going to be metabolized in the liver and as well as the by the liver and the RBC cells. So where this particular pathway is going to be located and where it is going to happen, we will see that. So it mainly occurring in the cytosol, as we all seen in case of glycolysis, that is going to happen in the cytosol, and whereas your gluconeogenesis also in the cytosol, whereas TCA cycle in the mitochondrial matrix. So now let us see this particular HMP is also going to happen in the cytosol, because the liver cytosolic enzymes are going to be involved in this carrying out this metabolic reactions. So mainly the tissues which includes liver, adipose tissues, as well as adrenal gland, and as well as erythrocytes, testes, and lactating mammary glands are also active and playing very important role, and they are very highly active in this particular carrying out this exose metabolic monophosphate metabolic reactions through this shunt. And minimal activity can be observed in case of brain and as well as muscles. Most of the tissues which are mainly involved in the biosynthesis of the fatty acids and the steroids, which are mainly dependent on the supply of the NADPH. So in this carrying out this steroid biosynthesis as well as fatty acid biosynthesis, you can come across or you can make out where the more amount of the NADPH are going to be required for the reactions to happen. So what is that steroid molecules um, can be synthesized by utilizing this NADPH molecule and as well as fatty acids, which will be discussed by Kokila ma'am. You can see in those reactions or the pathways. So this HMP shunt, which is very unique in nature, and it is acting as a multifunctional pathway, as you all know. So it mainly starts with the glucose 6 phosphate. So this glucose 6 phosphate, I think you can recall now, and you can just remember that glycolysis which we have discussed. So this glucose 6 phosphate was the intermediate of glycolysis. Once after the exokinase reaction, the glucose which is converting into glucose 6 phosphate, right? So that glucose 6 phosphate you can make out in this slide. So this glycogen which is forming the glucose 1 phosphate, which is catalyzed by phosphorylase enzyme, and this is nothing but glycogen degradation reactions. So that glucose 1 phosphate which is further degraded from the glycogen, it is going to undergo a mutase reaction to form glucose 6 phosphate. Now this glucose 6 phosphate, you can see it is entering into three routes, that is it can also act in the liver, in case of the liver, which is acted upon by glucose 6 phosphatase to form glucose, that is through gluconeogenesis process, synthesis of glucose, as well as in the muscle and the brain you can make out which is entering into the glycolysis to form pyruvate molecule as well as lactate molecule, complete oxidation you can see, carbon dioxide and water molecule. Whereas this can also enter into the pentose phosphate pathway or the HMP, what we are observing now. So it will involve in the synthesis of ribose molecule and as well as NADPH molecule, pentose and the NADPH. So that is the main important significance of this HMP, right? So this here in this particular pathway, no ATP is going to be directly utilized or produced in this shunt, where it is how it is acting as a multifunctional. Several interconvertible substances which can be produced and are going to be proceeded in different directions in the metabolic reactions. In the other metabolic reactions, what we have seen in the last this slide, so it can enter into the many metabolic pathways and involved in the other metabolic reactions. So this can achieve mainly this pathway involved in the reducing potential, that is synthesis of reducing potential, as you all know, in the form of NADPH, which can be used in other anabolic reactions which requires the electrons. So where this pathway also yields ribose 5-phosphate, which is a very important pentose molecule which involved in the synthesis of nucleotides, leading to the synthesis of some nucleotides such as DNA, RNA, and as well as various other cofactors also. So you can see the reactions of this pathway. So it is going to happen in two phases, that is oxidative phase and non-oxidative phases. So first we will see, we will discuss with respect to the oxidative phase what is going to happen. Almost 4 enzymatic reactions you are going to come across in oxidative phases. So what is going to happen in the oxidative phase? So first step of the oxidative phase is nothing but conversion of glucose 6-phosphate, that is going to be oxidized by the enzyme glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. This glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase plays a very important role in the carrying out oxidation reaction of glucose 6-phosphate to form 6-phosphogluconolactone. So you can make out gluconolactone means double bond O, you can see here, right? So this gluconolactone is going to be formed in this slide. You can make out this gluconolactone, formation of 6-phosphogluconolactone. So here NADP plus is going to act as a coenzyme or cofactor, which is mainly specific for this enzyme to carry out this reaction. So here one molecule of NADPH is going to be synthesized, wherein this reaction is considered as a rate limiting step of the HMP, and this reaction is purely irreversible. In oxidative phase, almost all the reactions are irreversible in nature, or it is going to act irreversible. Understanding? So this you can make out here in the structure of this here. So which carbon atom is having double bond O, first carbon atom, right? So double bond O you can make out, right? See, CHOH, 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 CH2O, PO3. 2 minus, that is glucose 6-phosphate undergoing dehydrogenation, that is nothing but oxidation reaction to form 6-phosphogluconolactone. In the first carbon atom you can see double bond O formation, that is nothing but gluconolactone. So here first carbon atom of the aldehyde at the C1 of the glucose 6-phosphate is forming 6-phosphogluconolactone. So here you can make out NADP plus is going to act as an electron acceptor, and this is irreversible in nature. You can make out here in this reaction, this is a very important regulatory enzyme of this HMP, that is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. So you can make out in this reaction, this is a rate limiting step and it will be regulated and it is affected by the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme activity. Coming for the next step of this oxidative phase of the reaction, that is 6-phosphogluconolactone, which was formed in the first step, is further getting hydrolyzed by the enzyme gluconolactone hydrolase. So gluconolactone hydrolase or gluconolactonase is the enzyme acting upon 6-phosphogluconolactone to form 6-phosphogluconate, mainly by the addition of water molecule. So you are adding water molecule to hydrolyze this double bond O, which is in the first carbon atom of this 6-phosphogluconolactone to form 6-phosphogluconate. So you can make out in this reaction 6-phosphogluconate formation, right? 6-phosphogluconolactone is getting hydrolyzed by the addition of water molecule acted upon by the enzyme lactonase to form 6-phosphogluconate. So see, the changes in the 6-phosphogluconate will be COO minus, CHOH, 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 CH2O, PO3, 2 minus. So double bond O is broken down by adding water molecule to form, you can see in the first carbon atom CO minus is going to be formed, right? So this is the 6-phosphogluconate structure. So this is mainly what is happening here, ring is getting opened, right? So it is resulting in the particular hydrolysis reaction. So adding water molecule, so this particular ester linkage will be getting hydrolyzed, and ring opening is going to happen. So you can see after the ring opening, which is going to happen in the absence of this particular catalyst, right? 6-phosphogluconolactonase, which is going to involve in speeding up the reaction, or it is going to accelerate the reaction to form 6-phosphogluconate. So you can make out here very clearly, lactonase enzyme is acted upon 6-phosphogluconolactone. So double bond is going to be broken down. You can see in this reaction, first carbon atom 6-phosphogluconate, right? So this is how the double bond ring opening is going to happen, resulting in the formation of a what is that, 6-phosphogluconate gluconate structure. So now you can see here in the next step of the oxidative phase, that is the third step, what is going to happen? This particular reaction involves the synthesis of NADPH. Again, one more NADPH molecule is going to be synthesized. In the first enzymatic reaction, we saw the synthesis of NADPH. In the third enzymatic reaction also, we are observing the synthesis of NADPH. So, two molecules of NADPH is going to be synthesized in the three reactions, right? So this is also a reaction which is involved in carrying out the particular oxidative decarboxylation, that is nothing but removal of carbon dioxide molecule, where the 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase is the enzyme is acting upon this molecule, that is 6-phosphogluconate, to produce ketose sugar that is called as ribose 5-phosphate. Ketose sugar that is called as ribulose 5-phosphate, right? Ribose is aldose, ribulose is ketose, that is double bond O, C double bond O. You can make out in the second carbon atom of this ribulose 5-phosphate, double bond O is there, right? So that is ketose sugar. So with a molecule of NADPH, NADPH is going to be synthesized here. This reaction is also irreversible in nature. So you can make out here in this reaction, carbon dioxide is getting removed, that is decarboxylation is happening. So oxidative decarboxylation. So this yields ribulose 5-phosphate, which is a ketose sugar, 5C, 5 carbon atom ketose sugar. So here you can see hydroxyl group at the C3 is getting oxidized to a ketose in the C2 of the product. Understanding, in the C2 of the product. So hydroxyl group in the third carbon atom of this 6-phosphogluconate is getting oxidized to a ketone, that is at the second carbon atom of the product, that is the ribulose 5-phosphate. So here it is going to promote mainly the loss of the carboxyl group at the C1 carbon atom. Carboxyl group is getting removed, that is in the form of carbon dioxide. You can make out all the reaction which is happening. So NADP plus is serving as a oxidant or the cofactor involved in the particular reaction, which is mainly specific for this enzyme to carry out the reaction. So very easily you can make out here also 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase, first carbon atom is removed in the form of carbon dioxide. So third carbon atom hydroxyl group is getting oxidized to form second carbon of the product ketose sugar, that is double bond O formation in the ribulose 5-phosphate, right? So these are the reactions which are going to happen. Only 3 enzymatic reactions. Sorry, I told you initially 4 enzymatic. Sorry. So 3 enzymatic reactions are especially irreversible in nature, and it is involved in the oxidative phase of the reaction. So you have not seen any ATP direct involvement in those 3 reactions. Only the NADP plus was acting as a cofactor indirectly. So synthesis of NADPH you have seen in all these 3 reactions, right? So coming for the non-oxidative phase of the reaction. So this is the reaction which is going to take place in almost all the cells. So all these reactions are reversible in nature, right? The beauty of this HMP pathway is oxidative phase of the reactions will be occurring irreversibly. So this non-oxidative phase of the reactions are occurring reversible, that is reversible in nature, where you can come across the step 4 of this reaction, where this ribulose 5-phosphate which is formed, which is a ketose sugar in the oxidative phase, is getting isomerized to form ribose 5-phosphate. Again, that is a aldehyde, that is ribose 5-phosphate, that is 5 carbon atom, again aldehyde which is the functional group here, are epimerized. It is getting isomerized to form ribose 5-phosphate, getting epimerized to form xylulose 5-phosphate. I think you all know the difference between isomerization and epimerization. Epimer is just an particular what is that? For example, galactose is a fourth epimer of the glucose, like that. So isomerization means just an isomer, like getting ribulose conversion to ribose, that is aldehyde conversion to ketose conversion, or for example, in glycolysis, glucose to what we have seen in the second enzymatic reaction, phosphoglucoisomerase in the glycolysis, right? Like fructose 6 phosphate, glucose 6 phosphate is getting isomerized to fructose, like that here also is happening. Ribulose 5 phosphate is getting isomerized to ribose 5 phosphate. Again, ketose is getting isomerized to aldehyde, right? And epimerized to xylulose 5 phosphate. Again, 5 carbon atom sugar, that is xylulose 5 phosphate, is again a ketose sugar, right? Xylulose 5 phosphate is a ketose sugar, ribulose 5 phosphate is a ketose sugar, whereas ribose 5 phosphate is an aldose sugar, right? So here this epimerase, it converts stereoisomers, that is ribulose 5 phosphate to xylulose 5 phosphate, you can make out, that is by the enzyme epimerase, whereas isomerase enzyme is involved in the conversion of ribulose 5 phosphate to ribose 5 phosphate, that is aldose sugar, right? Ketose sugar to 5 carbon atom, ketose sugar to 5 carbon atom, again ribose sugar, that is at the 5th carbon atom is getting phosphorylated in both the sugars. Both the reactions are reversible in nature. So you can see the structure: ribulose 5 phosphate, second carbon atom ketose sugar, that is double bond O is there. In case of xylulose 5 phosphate also, second carbon atom double bond O, but in the third carbon atom you can make out here CHOH in case of ribulose 5 phosphate on the left side, whereas here you can make out xylulose 5 phosphate COHH, right? This is the difference in case of in between ribulose 5 phosphate to xylulose 5 phosphate. Whereas if you make out ribulose 5 phosphate to ribose 5 phosphate, this is an ketose, completely ribulose, whereas ribose is a aldose, CH double bond O instead of in the first carbon atom CH2OH in case of ribulose 5 phosphate. So you can have a difference between ribulose 5 phosphate to ribose 5 phosphate sugar, right? So these are the epimerization and isomerization reaction which is going to happen. So in the next slide, we will discuss regarding the next oxidative phase of the reaction, that is trans ketolase reaction as well as trans aldolase reactions, and again trans ketolase reaction. Thank you.